Okay, you guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. It's been a minute since I did a video, so I'm happy to be back. I hope you guys are all doing well. So today we're going to be talking about a family that I don't see people really talking about nearly enough. And you, if you're familiar with this family, might even be thinking, why them? Especially because their kids aren't really front and center in their content anymore. But actually, I have a couple good reasons why. Number one, when you've managed to grift your way from candle making to aspiring musician to model to still living in a house your parents own to then custom building multi-million-dollar homes off the backs of your children. Yeah, I don't really care if the kids are barely in your videos now, because that kind of trajectory definitely deserves some spotlight. And then the second reason, and this is the reason that really gets me, is that these are parents who openly admitted that using their kids for content was wrong. They talked about scary incidents, consequences, all of that. They said they were going to take a step back with putting their kids in the content and protect their kids, which great, that's growth, that's a good thing. Except when the views drop and the money starts to slow down, and then, shocker, the kids are suddenly back in the content. Like, nothing was ever said before about there being any sort of incidents happening. Yeah, that deserves to be talked about. Because let's be honest, every influencer, everyone who puts their kids online, everybody who monetizes their kids, they know the dangers, they know the risks. And the majority of them, they just don't care. They choose to ignore it. But the ones who acknowledge it, that step away and say, you know what, this is wrong, we were wrong, and then come crawling back the second that the paychecks start shrinking, yeah, those are a very different breed of parents. And yes, I'm looking at all of you, Oscar, Kira, Jonathan and Anna, Dan and Alex Santomo, and many, many more. But today, we're actually going to be talking about Josh and Abbie Herbert. Because in my opinion, doing it in the first place is bad enough, but admitting it's wrong and then going right back to it because you don't want to get a regular job, or you know that you alone isn't enough to bring in the money that you're seeking, that deserves to be called out tenfold. Because let's be honest about that decision, what that thought process actually is. It's these parents saying, sorry, kids, we're shilling you out, we're putting you on silver platters, you are going to get to work. And I do not give a damn how this might possibly affect you today or in the future. So buckle up, guys, because we're doing a deep dive. Let's go. So I lightly, and I mean very, very lightly, covered Josh and Abbie very early on in my channel days when I was a faceless channel. I put up a small video kind of just calling out different parents who said they were going to take their kids offline and then put them back online. So I covered them for a couple minutes in that video. So today I actually wanted to sit down and do a bigger video covering them because I have a lot of questions when it comes to their logic. And look, I'll be honest, sometimes I think maybe I should take a step back on covering family channels, family influencers, all of that, and just talk about other topics. But then I see things like legislation being passed, like what just happened in Tennessee with protections for minors and monetized content, and it kind of snaps me back because this conversation that we're all having online, it's actually doing something. And no, I'm not saying I'm the reason that anything like that. I'm not saying that. But there are so many people talking about the risks of putting kids up online, the dangers of it all. More and more people are talking about it every single day. I'm seeing the conversation get so, so big across places like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, even streaming services are putting out documentaries on this. Laws like this, they don't just appear out of nowhere. They happen because people continue talking about it, more and more people continue talking about it and putting a spotlight on it. So when I get comments saying, you know, mind your own business, they're not your kids, why do you care? This is why I care. Because even if I'm just a teensy tiny little speck in a much bigger conversation, if it helps more people think twice or helps to bring more awareness to what's going on, even to just one person every video that I post about this topic, then yeah, it matters. I genuinely just don't think we would be seeing any of this progress if people weren't talking about it. I think that things would just stay how they've always been. And real quick before we get into the deep dive, in case if you're not on TikTok, I wanted to show you this clip of Chad Frankie. He just put it up on his TikTok last night, actually. And this video he put up is just further proof that spreading this message, continuing this conversation, it does matter.
It's happening, bro. No more kids on the internet. The war is over. We have the internet on our side now. You guys have no idea. For years and years, family vloggers had control over YouTube. It's insane. The amount of money family vloggers were making and the community of just all of them combined. You have no idea. When my parents were doing vlogging, they were in a group chat with probably 50 to 100 other the biggest family vloggers, and they all compiled together and came up with ideas, and that was like a cult. I look at family vlogging now, even if it's not the main focus on the kids, any kind of clips where people just film their kids and post it and it goes big, I cringe watching those videos. And it makes me so happy when I open the comments and people just are ripping into them. To prove how recent this movement has been, when I first started doing social media after everything, about 3 years ago, I actually called out a mom who kept filming her kids every single day, and you could tell she had them do a script and everything. Snapchat, they banned me. They took me off the payroll and everything. And once I promised them I wouldn't call out any more family vloggers, they started paying me back. But now there is a huge movement against it. I mean, there's laws passing. Thank God for my sister Sherry. Have you guys seen the stuff she does? She's literally gonna make it illegal in Utah to film your kids and make money off of it. Isn't that insane? And you guys are catching the ones who are trying to get around it. I know who you're thinking about. I know all the families you're thinking about. Everyone's moving to Tennessee because I think it's still legal there or something. I don't know the details behind it. All I know is that it's happening, bro. No more kids on the internet.
Yeah, I just thought that was really interesting coming from the perspective of someone who was a part of such a massive, massive family channel on YouTube. And he just posted that, so it was perfect timing to add in this video for you guys. And with all of that in mind, today I just want to ask some questions, break this down a bit more, and hopefully continue adding to the awareness around what can actually happen when children are looked at as a product in their parents' eyes. Okay, so first, if you don't know who Josh and Abbie Herbert are, they are a couple who really started gaining popularity around 2020, when I feel like that was the time, if ever you were going to pop off as a couple content creator duo, that was it. People like them and Matt and Abbie, they truly can never say that they hated 2020 times, because that year and everything that came out of that year truly changed their lives and many others. Financially, that is. But interestingly enough, with Josh and Abbie, they were trying to make a name for themselves long before 2020, long before they started TikTok. So, first, we'll start with Josh. He has always been an aspiring musician. That was his main goal. Even in the early days of their TikTok videos, he was trying to make it as an artist, and that's how they actually met. Abbie was in one of his music videos, and from there, they created a life together. Not right away, because Abbie was 17 when they met and Josh was 24. So, yeah. But Abbie was a model, and I'm assuming that's how she got the gig in the first place. She had some luck in the modeling field, but not to the level that was going to put her in the spot that she is today. But before we get to their TikTok journey, they actually had a few other grifts, if you will, before having their children and just running with that. They tried their hands at candles. Yes, making candles and selling them, which didn't go anywhere. Then they tried to create their own clothing company, and again, that didn't go anywhere. And look, I'm not knocking them for, attempting to build a side hustle. I'm not knocking that at all. But you're going to see in this video that they are willing to do just about anything to avoid a typical 9 to 5 grind. And luckily for them, in 2020, their TikTok page started to gain popularity and they sort of ran with it, doing couples content. And they were doing well enough, but again, not well enough that they were going to be living this luxury lifestyle, if you will, that they are today. But it wasn't really until Abbie got pregnant with their first child that their social media presence really, really took off. I mean, truly, the views they were getting during this time was insane. And when their first child was born, they did not take their foot off the gas. That child was front and center in all of their videos, and they posted often, every single day. The majority of their main channel, long form content with their kids. And I will say that the majority of their long form videos that did have their kids, not all of them, but the majority of those videos has been hidden in this past year, which I would applaud them for if they took all of the content down and did not continue to monetize their kids, but because that is not the case, here we are today making this video. But it's really important to just understand how big their content grew, how they got to where they are today, specifically because of their first child. We are going to be looking into this all more in a bit, but this child was in all of their content and honestly, even the butt of many of Abbie's jokes. From her name to her tantrums, it was all documented and made into bits to further grow their brand. And get this, they went on to have 2 more kids, and the kids, especially the first 2, were such a big part of their content that when they started pulling back on showing the kids, people started asking questions. Where are the kids? Are you not showing them anymore? It was noticeable when they stopped showing them as much. But before we get into all of that, I do want to highlight a few things with their early days content that sort of stood out to me, specifically involving their kids. Because we could talk about how Abbie seems to love to humiliate Josh in his height, but honestly, he seems to like it. And I mean, different strokes for different folks, right? Isn't that the saying? I mean, if you're a consenting adult and you enjoy the constant humiliation rituals, then you do you. Because we have more important things to talk about today, like the humans who are not able to consent to possible online humiliation and more. So, like we already discussed, once their first child was born, she became the just front and center of their content, and nothing was really off limits. It felt like, at least when it came to what they were putting up for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everything. And like I said, over the past year, a lot of their long form content has been made private, but it does not erase what was once being shared and monetized. And trust me, plenty of it is still alive and well on Abbie's TikTok, their Facebook, their YouTube. So they don't exactly deserve influencer, parents of the year award for taking down some of the content. Because back in the day, like I said, everything was put up. Nothing was off limits. They were even putting up health related issues and making videos out of that. And like with her husband, Abbie does have a tendency of making her daughter, or at least she did have a tendency of making her daughter, the butt of her jokes. For example, there was this video that has since been deleted. I could not find the original. It got deleted because she was getting called out a lot for it, but it's where she purposely hits her toddler, who at the time she was a toddler, in the face with one of those stretchy toys. During this time, I saw that the Dad Challenge podcast covered this. So I'm going to show you guys that clip real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
Break it down. This totally was on purpose and it gives me the ick. Oh, that's what someone else wrote. So this is her TikTok that she deleted. POV, you're the one friend that always gets hurt. Now she's talking about her child as if it's a friend, because this is a working relationship, not a parent relationship.
Call if I make you a hot girl. Don't say something.
Okay, now let's break that down again. So right here, watch. She's got this like stringy thing. It's got like a sticky thing on the end. You get them. I don't know where you get them, but watch. She looks at her. So she swings it and just misses her, but she's looking at her daughter. Right, watch. And smack right in the face.
Yeah, so while accidents do happen, that was no accident. She was looking and aiming for her daughter's face to make it into a bit, to make it a joke, to get her daughter upset and then laugh and try to comfort her. Super, super gross. Again, with Abbie, anything and everything is content. You will see that here in this video. Okay, so there is this one video that has always really stuck out to me that Abbie posted, I think a year or two ago. And it's definitely open to interpretation, but the way I interpreted it was pretty dark. So watch this video real quick and let me know what you think.
I need everyone to stop what they're doing, watch this video, because I'm genuinely scared and kind of terrified. So this little one right here, this little gremlin, she loves to draw, she loves to color. Do this all herself. As you can see, she loves to do self-portraits. This is daddy, that's mommy, that's baby, or sorry, that's her. She's been really into like eyes and faces. Oh, like this is all her. Really into spooky things. She loves Halloween, she loves pumpkins. And she started coloring this herself. At first I was like, wow, that's really good. She like colored inside lines. The color choice, little sketch. And then one day I saw her coloring on her iPad and I saw this. She's really into eyes and faces, so I'm thinking maybe she's in her eyes era. Well, today she went to school, and when I dropped her off, I said, please make me a piece of art. Like, I want to put it on the fridge. And she said, okay, mommy. And I was really excited to see what she was going to create. I saw there was Play-Doh. I saw there was paint. They had the construction paper out, and I was like, this is going to be a good art day. There's stickers, and I thought I was going to get something really cute. I went to go pick her up, and she was standing in the doorway, and she goes, mommy, look what I did. I was like, yes, this is going to be a masterpiece. Hands me this. What is this?
Ring.
It's the ring?
Yeah. Boo.
What's that look like?
Chicken nuggets.
Serious note, should I be concerned? I don't know if I should be worried or not. You guys know Poppy likes to color on her iPad, but she really likes to color black. And she will color everything out but the eyes. She will keep the eyes in the photos, but color everything else black. So she got this sticker book, and out of everything out of the sticker book, she only wanted the eyes. I'm creeped out. She was just passed out, and she just ran into my room and said, mommy, mommy. What was I talking about?
Eyes.
What?
Eyes.
Eyes?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm just getting really creeped out, so let me just get to the point. So she does crafts at school, and they said she really was so excited to show me this craft that she made. Guys, what's on here? What are those?
Eyeballs.
Eyeballs? What?
They're always laughing.
They're always what?
Laughing.
Should I be scared of the eyes?
Yeah.
So, yeah, call me crazy, but I do not think that this child was in her eye era, whatever that means. I think that kids are a lot more perceptive than what we sometimes give them credit for. And this was also during a period where they were filming and posting her constantly, day in and day out. Even if a lot of the content has since been taken down or made private, it still happened. We also know that there were moments when people would recognize them in public and say they watched their videos. So I really do think that she was aware on some level that she was being watched. I mean, in many videos, Abbie would literally say, hey, your friends are watching, as if the audience are her friends. And honestly, I think that art is and can be used as a way for people to process different things. It can be used as therapy. And to me, it felt like her way of working through what was happening. Being on camera all the time, being viewed through a lens even by her own parents, and having millions of people watching her life play out. She may not have understood all the details, like it being literal millions of people watching her, but I don't think she was completely unaware of that situation either. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know, that video just always stood out to me. And honestly, the fact that Abbie just kind of laughed it off, of course made a video about it, is very telling. Like literally every other family vlogger, Josh and Abbie love to clickbait pregnancy, gender reveals, name reveals, all of it. This type of content for them brings in tens of millions of views. But Josh and Abbie like to take it a step further when it comes to milking it for all it's worth. Not only do they have People magazine have the exclusive for the first photo reveal of their babies when they have them, for their second child, they also, on top of that, partnered with Kay Jewelers for the name reveal. Like, literally every single moment is an opportunity for them to cash in, and I can't even begin to imagine how much Kay paid them. If I were to take a guess, it would be somewhere in the six-figure range, though, I kid you not. And the thing is, many of these brands will back out of deals, or they won't even offer it in the first place if kids are not involved. Hence why Josh and Abbie still keep the kids in the content to some degree, even to this day, for brand deals. But I found this TikTok from a guy who actually righted his wrongs, and now he's advocating for the privacy of children. So check this video out. Go follow this guy on TikTok. This is really, we never see this. This is really awesome. Take a watch.
We walked away from 3 million followers and over $100,000 in brand deals, and I'm going to tell you why. We started posting on this app in 2020, just family stuff and videos of our kids, and within a month, it blew up. We gained millions of followers. We started working with some of the top brands in the world, and we really fell into that social media family influencing rabbit hole. We continued this for a few years, and then we woke up. We realized what we were doing was completely wrong because kids are not meant to be social media influencers or social media stars. They're meant to be kids. Kids are meant to have privacy. We contacted every brand that we had lined up and notified them that our children would not be featured in the content, and they all backed out. And it didn't matter because there is nothing in this world that anyone could give us that would make us post our children on social media ever again. Unfortunately, there are still a lot of families out there that are putting profit, clicks, views, likes ahead of their children. They're not allowing them to have normal lives because to them, that's no longer their child. That's their source of income. And social media kids have no protection. There are some states that pass laws that protect the kids' income, and that's a start, but it's not enough. So please, if you have children, if you are planning on having children, if you're going to have a child soon, don't post them. It doesn't matter if you have millions of followers, 5 followers, 6 friends, 3 connections, whatever it is. Let your child's digital footprint be theirs.
Again, amazing. Kudos. This is someone who deserves all of the credit. I'm not really familiar who they were, but I also couldn't find their old content because they actually deleted it and started a whole new TikTok where it's just him and his wife. Amazing. Him and his wife turned down tons of money, brand deals. They started over because their kids' privacy, their kids' dignity, their kids' just lives was worth more. But let's get back to Josh and Abbie. So, for a short period, they had a podcast where they were kind of testing out not featuring their kids in the content anymore. And the views, they just were not there. They were nothing like what they were getting. Unless they were specifically talking about their kids, then those videos double, tripled the amount of views that the other podcast episodes were getting. But there's one clip from their podcast that I saw people bringing up, and I listened to it, and it's pretty strange. It's pretty strange because it's Abbie talking about how she will not change diapers. She will literally ask other people to change her children's diaper.
So I don't no I can't. I physically cannot do diaper changes. I can do number 1 diaper changes, but number 2 I can't stomach it. And a story, I took Abbie out on a play date at this playhouse, and she took the biggest poop of her entire life there, and I was by myself, not Josh, and I was like, Abbie, you can do it. You got this. I got the wipes. I got the diaper, and I walked into the bathroom, and remind you, this is a playhouse with just children, and the bathroom smelled like, have you ever opened like a diaper genie or a diaper pail?
I have.
And it's the most disgusting thing you've ever smelled. Imagine that, but knowing it's not your child's poop. So I immediately walked in this bathroom. I'm gagging. I walk out. I go up to my friend, who's, thank God she was there, was like, hey, this is the craziest thing to ask, but I can't change her diaper. I can't go in there. I can't do it. And she was like, girl, I got you. And she's pregnant too. So I felt bad. Lo and behold, she changed Pop's diaper, and it was so embarrassing. She's a great friend, but I can't stomach it. And it's, once I start gagging, I can't stop. And it's been this whole pregnancy, even kind of before pregnancy. I was able to do diaper changes, but it was hard for me. Like I'd have to put my shirt up and close my nose, but I can't do it. So you are team diaper change.
I'm pretty much on. I've come a long way.
So let me get this straight. You did not want to change your daughter's diaper, so you asked your pregnant friend to go into some nasty ass bathroom to do it for you. Do these kids just sit in filth when she has nobody around her to change their diapers? That would be my question. They do have full-time help with their kids, and they both are at home 24/7, so that probably never does happen. But that just seems so bizarre to me that she can't change her own kids' diapers. Anyone else find that really something? Maybe just don't continue having kids if you cannot do the bare minimum. Also, love that she's blasting her daughter's poopy diapers on the internet for clicks and views and monetization. Anything for content, right? Speaking of anything for content, a very long-running joke for them was their daughter's name. For the longest time, Abbie and Josh were calling her Poot, and it literally became a bit for them, like so many of the things involving their kids do. But many people really thought that was her name, to the point where there were actual articles about it, which only drew more attention to their pages, which is exactly what Josh and Abbie wanted, to create buzz. But at what cost? Something else that Josh and Abbie have done quite a bit is show their kids in diapers. Whether that's changing their diapers, running around in just a diaper, or putting them in a diaper for a close-up shot for a Huggies paid sponsorship. They don't seem to stray away from that type of content. which is strange given all we know. Like, showing your kids online, using them for content is bad enough, but putting them in a diaper for the content, it seems beyond foolish. It more seems calculated. And I kind of feel the same way when it comes to Abbie showing breastfeeding content. Don't come for me. Breastfeeding is natural. That's not the issue. But Abbie makes that into content often, like in an unnecessary way. So much so that when you type her name in, one of the suggested searches after is Abbie Herbert breastfeeding. So again, it seems like she knows what she's doing. Like it's, oh, I don't know, calculated. And that's because it is. Everything that they post, everything that so many influencers post, is very, very calculated. Kind of like how Abbie likes to word her videos in a very specific, very weird way, such as making many, many videos where she says, I can't believe this baby was inside me, or when I realize everyone in the house has been inside of me at one point. And maybe you're thinking, you're just being too sensitive. It's just mom content, right? It's for the moms that get it, get it. Okay, maybe. But let me show you a clip that someone broke down on TikTok, and it's something that we rarely, if ever, get to see, and that's the demographics of who is watching this type of mom content.
What is actually happening when you post pictures of your kids online is weird, but one mom not only witnessed that it was happening to her, she's now proving that it did. As someone who posts like mom content, she would post videos with her kids, started noticing a sharp incline in the male audience versus the female. You're thinking, oh, maybe they're just pushing her content to men. No, she's a primarily female viewership, but then she started posting stuff without any kids in it. Her no kids content got significantly less male viewership. In fact, she was back to her normal 80% female viewers. Halloween video of her with her family, including her kids, over 70% men viewing it. Not just like a simple picture of just her and her husband. 80% women. Oh, videos of just her, 8% men. Videos of her with her kid, almost 70% men. The only difference in her videos or pictures was that the ones that had her children in it were getting pushed to a male audience versus the stuff where it was just her and her friends, just her and her husband, 80% women. Again, not a celebrity, just a regular woman who is sharing some of her life online, like all of her special moments. So now she's realizing it may not be safe at all to share her children. This is a huge wake-up call to all of us. I've never looked at my analytics, broken it down. Women who have millions of followers sharing their daily lives with their kids, she's even wondering how many of those are just creepy men who are just there to look at her kids.
Again, that was interesting to me to watch because we rarely get to see it. It's something that the influencer is never going to show us, even though they have access to it. They're seeing it, but they're not going to show us because it's really, really dark. So is it a bunch of moms watching this content, finding humor in it? Or is it a lot of men watching it, not finding humor in it, but something else? I don't know. And you would think with those type of stats, the information that we know now that wasn't as clear 5 or 10 years ago, heck, with what AI is doing right now, you would think that would be more than enough to just stop. And a couple of years ago, Josh and Abbie did. They started blurring their kids' faces if they were in a photo, but all in all, the kids just weren't really in the content as much. So much so that people started wondering. So Abbie answered and said, "This has been my top question. We are navigating this as a family and figuring things out. We are limiting the kids for their protection. As much as I want to share my children with everyone because I think they are the cutest kids ever, I have to protect them and keep them safe. This is something we have been discussing for months, and with some recent incidents, we decided it was time. I will get more into the details soon, but as of now, this is where we're at. There is no right or wrong way of moving forward. Yes, there is. Each social media platform is different, so we are just doing what feels comfortable within the moment." I would love to know what those incidents were. She never did end up sharing. And maybe that's because just a couple of weeks or so after that announcement, the kids are back on the platform like that never happened. They were back to doing regular videos on YouTube, posting photos of them on Instagram, doing TikTok videos, and tons of sponsored posts. Because again, they were not enough to sustain what their children had built for them. So fast forwarding to present day, while a lot of their long form content that was involving their kids has since been hidden, many are still up. Many videos that put their kids in compromising positions, share personal information, meltdowns, etc. And they still make plenty of appearances in Abbie's content, not blurred at all. She also films her oldest daughter at her cheerleading competitions, which I feel like is a violation of privacy, not only for her daughter, but the other kids there. I talked about this a bit on my last Jonathan Jolie video, and I saw a comment that I recently got, and they said, I have to respectfully disagree with you about filming in those types of spaces. Let me just see what they said. They said, I will also have to respectfully disagree with you about filming at dance competitions as it is a public space. I'm sure that I'm sure there's people already at those events filming just as much or enjoying being there. I didn't say that you shouldn't film your own kids at a dance event, gymnastics, cheerleading, sports game, whatever. I didn't say that. What I mean is that you shouldn't be allowed to film at these events and monetize that content, right? Also, not to mention, they talked about wanting to protect their kids' privacy, keep them safe. They had incidents. So I feel like it wouldn't take someone with bad intentions to watch those videos and figure out where the daughter is going to be at with these events. I mean, again, if you had incidents before filming your kids at these events and then posting it online, to me, it seems like a bad idea. But besides that, like I've already said, an area that Josh and Abbie have not restricted their kids is anytime they are doing a big brand deal. They've done campaigns with Old Navy, Duracell Battery, Evermore Beach Resort in Florida, and more, since they said they were not going to be sharing their kids anymore. Josh and Abbie have gotten to a place financially, specifically because they're kids, they can thank their kids for that, where they can sort of pick and choose what type of content they do, I guess how much their kids are in it. And instead of just saying no altogether, the kids are not going to be in it at all anymore. We're going to delete any content that has their face in it. They continue to keep the kids a part of the content. They continue to say yes to brand deals that ask for the kids to be involved. They continue to feed into the cycle. They'll never fully take the kids out because they need the kids to make their lifestyle work. And they know they can always tease another pregnancy, bring the kids back into videos, unhide the videos that they privated if things start to dry up for them. Which, speaking of teasing pregnancies, Abbie is already doing that, even though they just had their third child. She does this very quickly after having each kid. She goes to Target, buys a pregnancy test, documents it all, saying that she felt sick that morning, so she might be pregnant. The test comes back negative. She's sad. And then she posts the video and gets millions of views. She does have quite the formula going. I will give her that because people always feed into it. But I will say, as of right now, they're not even close to being as bad as many family vloggers, mommy influencers, daddy influencers, solo dad talking about you. They're not as bad as a lot of the people out there doing this online. That's just the reality, but it doesn't erase how they got to where they are today and that they're still, like I said, feeding into this cycle. Cuz yeah, it does seem like they're trying to create some distance between their kids and their content, but for whatever reason they're not fully committing to it. And sure, we can make our own assumptions about why that is. And had their content always been like this, how their content is today, where their kids are kind of just in the background, like we know their parents, we might see a kid running around in the background. We don't know much about them. We wouldn't be able to recognize those kids out in public. I wouldn't even be making this video. No one would be talking about them. But the issue is, if they had started that way, they would not have grown to the size that they are today. They needed to use their kids the way that they did to have social media be their full-time jobs. So yeah, it's good that they're showing their kids less. But then the question is, why not just make that the standard for your content? Completely take your kids offline. Why still keep one foot in the door? And the obvious answer is their kids are and have been a big part, the main part of what built their platform. So there's probably a real fear that if they fully remove the kids from the content, it could impact their views, their income, their lifestyle, their bottom line. We've already heard from someone who said that brands will pull out if the kids are not involved. But then it's like, so what? So what? Why does that matter more than your kids' privacy, more than your kids' well being? I don't get it because clearly they know. They have acknowledged that it's a problem, that putting their kids online has been a problem for their children's safety. And they have shown that they care to a point, but not enough to fully step away. They've made their choice, and that choice is to keep on going. And it's sad for their kids. Their oldest, in particular, like I keep saying, so much of her digital footprint has already been created for her without her consent, and it's not going anywhere. Like, really? think about that for a second. Think about growing up and you go to Google your name, and all of these embarrassing moments come up. Things that were shared about you that you didn't ask to be shared, vulnerable moments, labels being put on you from strangers that may or may not even be true. How would that feel? Because the reality is that for this child and many, many, many other children, that's what they're going to be dealing with someday. A lot of these parents would not have the platforms they do without their kids, Josh and Abbie included. And I think that's exactly why so many of their side projects that don't involve their kids tend to fall flat. Whether it's skincare lines, podcast, candle business, clothing, we've seen it over and over again. We've seen a lot of family vloggers and influencers try to do side things, and we've seen it fail. Wasn't Kiera making blankets at one point? Where did that go? Where'd that go? What ends up happening is the kids become the fallback plan. They're kept just close enough to the content in case they're needed, whether that's for boosting views, securing higher paying brand deals, or even something as big as monetizing another pregnancy. Because these kids, they're not just part of the family, they're part of the family business. But I am so glad that this conversation that's been happening for years online now is being taken seriously now. We're seeing a lot of things start happening. We're seeing progress being made, even if it's like little by little, that still counts. But I do think that's going to be it for today. I think I want to start doing one video like this a month where we kind of break down family blogger stuff. So let me know who you want me to cover for the next one. And if you like this video, if you want to help share the message, push it out further, definitely give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed for more videos like this. I cover all different types of topics on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed for the next video. Thank you as always for being here. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.